What's up, gamers and gamers? Today we are doing part 4 of the Xbox retrospective Power On, the Xbox story. Funny little note from the last video, I actually thought originally I made the thumbnail that we were going to talk more about Halo in that one. They barely mention it until towards the end, so I think that made me feel awkward, okay? That's just being honest. But this is now like, now they're kind of got the Xbox original launch. Everything's, set. It's going, and they're probably going to talk about the Xbox Live, which was a huge deal when it came out. The console was actually designed around that, which is kind of crazy. Like, can you guys think now, like, if we didn't have the internet on our consoles now, like, what kind of space would we be in? Some people say we'd be in a better space. Some people say we'd be in a worse space. I don't know. I like to think the truth is somewhere in between. If we didn't have the internet, maybe the world would be filled with peace and rainbows and sunshines and unicorns, and everyone would get free cookies, and no one will starve or worry about those mean old nasty trolls posting mean old stuff about them. Okay, like obviously we don't live in that world, but without the internet, I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys either. So good and bad. So I got a feeling this is them going to be talking about Halo, talk about the starting of the 360, what their mind was going into that, and talk about Xbox Live and how Xbox Live was very important for Xbox's long-term success. And some still argue to this day that if Xbox Live didn't happen or take off like it did, I don't think, honestly, the Xbox brand would be around anymore. To be real, it was Halo and online gaming. Those two connected super well in the console space. It worked super good for them, but enough talking. Let's get to the video.
E3 2001, when we saw Halo, my friends and I, we were like,
ooh, it's crashing, it's buggy, sounds terrible.
It seemed like Microsoft bit off more than they could chew.
And each build, it didn't seem to be improving at all.
Like, at some point, it wasn't about making Halo perfect. Honestly, we were just focused on how do we get this thing on disc in time for launch.
There was an incredible pressure on Halo.
This is our lead title, and this is what we've got?
If this thing fails, it would all be for nothing.
Funny here, I could tell you right now, this is the CE edition, anniversary edition, which was it was basically a glorified remastered. Literally, it was the same skeleton but different skin. And it's so funny, like, now how that was such a big deal when that first happened, but now it's like, oh, everyone does it. But yeah, even then, some of these glitches were still there. They even advertised it, like even the Magnum pistol, which, by the way, the reason why it was so overpowered is because of a glitch in the system, and they overlooked it. That's why it's like the most powerful weapon in all of the game. I literally remember people, playing the original Halo, and they say, drop the assault rifle, get the plasma rifle, or get the needler, and use the Magnum as your primary, because your Magnum had a scope. It was super powerful. Yeah, but the original Halo from this documentary sounds like it wasn't doing so hot for a while. Well, at least in development.
Xbox was finished.
There's a new contender in the video game wars.
Xbox is going to be the future.
Truly the future of video games.
Xbox.
Taking over the living room.
Limitless, connected digital entertainment.
You guys never understood.
The company is going to face fierce competition.
Sniper!
It's a ticking time bomb.
Makes me very nervous to actually play this for you.
Xbox getting a major overhaul.
A bold vision for the future of gaming.
Power On, the Xbox story. Chapter 4. Cool. Now what?
Soon you will be food.
Yeah.
On Halo,
the game's
we
not
were
in
doing
good
the
shape.
thing that people weren't quite sure would even work on a console, a first-person shooter, and the frame rate was terrible.
All of a sudden, we were in a new era.
I'll always say this about Halo, and I love the banter the aliens have in it. And it's like, it's such small stuff. even like now, even like set like Halo Infinite, Halo 5. Gonna say this right now. Much as dog shit Halo 5 is when it comes to story, I love hearing the grunts talk. You ever notice these people just fly around sometimes? You crazy! Like, I just love the grunts. But they also, I think in some ways they butchered the grunts too, because now like the grunts are kind of like just the joke class, and then elites are like the real villains. But that was kind of the point from a design perspective, as like the grunts are supposed to be the filler enemy you're killing. The jackals are the kind of serious ones, but it's like, you know, they still, you know, they had a very easy weakness. It's the gap in the shield. But the elites were like supposed to be like the elites. Like if the elite was on the playing field or the battlefield, I guess is a better way to put it. The elites was the difference maker, because especially the elites that had the swords. Very rare in the first Halo game. In fact, I think there was only 2 I can remember. But I see, like, I'm talking about Halo so much because Halo was such an important point for Microsoft. And much as I'm a diehard PlayStation guy, if you guys saw my apartment right now, you'd be like, man, Sony fucking bought this guy years ago. But I'm a big Halo fan. No matter what, as much as I'll sit here, bitch, and complain about, you know, Halo where they are now, that doesn't change the fact I absolutely love the Bungie Halo games. I even like some of the 343 games. Halo Infinite's a pretty damn good game. I say Halo 4 has the best story of all the Halo games besides Reach, and that's just because Reach was, you know, oh god. if you know about that story, you know about that story. And it's so funny because like that's the closest we got to a real adaptation of the Fall of Reach storyline from the books. And yes, I'm a Halo nerd. I actually read the books, or at least read the Fall of Reach. And I was like, man, that just such compelling stuff. And Microsoft had that on their side. They had this very compelling IP that just, I don't, if Bungie would have stuck around, I think Halo would be in better shape than it is now. That's my personal take. That's how important Halo is to Xbox, to me. Because the two can't be separated. It's like trying to separate God of War and PlayStation, or The Last of Us or PlayStation, or Mario and Nintendo. There's just some IPs that are associated with the brand so strongly because they have strong roots there. Halo was their Mario, their Kratos. I guess not Kratos, but God of War, Master Chief, you know, was their Mario, their Kratos. It's a big deal. So yeah, just kind of talking to talk, because I try not to be like this, a complete, you know, retelling, or I guess you would say redistribution of this video, even though the videos are up there for free on Xbox's website, which I do try to post a link to, because I want to be fair, give you guys a chance to watch this without my stupid commentary, because I am not very smart sometimes. Self-admit that. But, you know, hey, I think this is a good documentary series.
Console games, and what do we know about console games?
I had only heard things about, you know, it's not very good, really. Bungie may be a good studio, may be a fine studio, but the game wasn't really being received that well.
We're gonna make it, aren't we, sir?
With Halo and Xbox's fates intertwined, something drastic had to be done to get the game right. So, in a last-ditch effort, Ed Fries and Bungie essentially put the development team under arrest.
Yep.
Ed Fries have put Halo behind the curtain and won't let anybody see it. Won't let anybody talk to the Bungie team.
He's like, you guys seal yourself off, literally and metaphorically, and deliver a great game. Like our doors, I don't even think Ed could get into some of the Bungie doors.
I kept saying, hey, Ed, you know, when can I play Halo? And he goes, well, not yet.
When we only...
Dude, can you imagine hearing about that now? I mean, like, okay, granted, you kind of get that, you know, kind of get this with, like, something with GTA 6, but developers are always posting it on Twitter, you know. They never tell us anything, but, like, they're always, you know, kind of, you know, they get themselves out there. But this only could happen at this time. It would only happen at this time because, first off, much as this sounds fucked up, there was not as much regulations around it. There weren't, you know, companies weren't being pressured from the outside to, you know, improve work culture. Like, this is what you would call hardcore crunch. You hear about, like, Naughty Dog crunching down and having, you know, working in a studio that was literally, you know, yeah, being repaired at the same time they're making a game. This is, in some ways, this is kind of worse because it's like you are literally being isolated from everyone. Your friends, your family, you can't talk to. I mean, okay. I imagine there's a circumstance where, hey, my mom, is in the hospital. You're allowed to go then. But they want you there almost 24/7. We'll order the pizzas. We'll order the food. We'll keep you guys going. But you got to keep working on this game. That could not happen in today's environment. It would be a death blow to any game because people would say, I am not going to support this game out of pure spite against crunch culture. Which, let's be real here, this is what it is. It's crunch. It's not crunch for a month. It's crunch for months. People complain about crunch, for a week or crunch for a month. Can you imagine it for 6 months, 3 months? It would drive them insane.
We had a couple more months before we had to get this thing into boxes.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Things aren't going well.
We had to stand up a complete game that was performant on new hardware. We had to create a compelling story with characters. We had to cut levels, take shortcuts. Just a mad rush of long days, sleeping under desks, full-on old school crunch to get this game done.
There it is.
The one positive thing that comes out of crunch is ideation and invention and polish. Ultimately, that was one of the things that Bungie took very, very seriously, was polish.
For us at Bungie, this was a passionate effort to make the best game possible. But when you show up as Microsoft, you are open to a whole different level of criticism.
Yeah, that's cool. All right!
And Halo had the burden of showing up excellent in all ways. We had no idea Halo was going to be a hit. We hoped people would like it.
Here we go.
Hold it up!
But the rubber hits the road when you meet the gamer for real.
Halo? Halo, yeah. Halo.
I remember very vividly going to local launch events.
Hold it up!
Starting to look at chatter online with fan sites, and then game reviews, and then comments, and realizing, oh my God, people like it.
How the hell are we gonna beat this game?
Halo, which had problems entering the fray, came out on day one, and it was amazing. It was really amazing.
I just felt...
And I agree with that 100%. Halo, the original Halo was an amazing game. Still up there with one of the most important franchises in gaming. And I agree 100%. It's probably this is probably a controversial opinion for some people. I still think it's the best, FPS game ever made. And some people might disagree with me on that. And I can see why you could disagree with me on that. Some people like arena shooters more like, or more like a classic arena shooter like Doom Eternal. Or, they prefer, something like Resistance or Killzone or what the fuck ever. But, like, dude, there's a reason why there was a thing called a Halo killer. Because everyone wanted to be a Halo killer. And the only thing that killed Halo really was itself in Call of Duty. I know some people will say Call of Duty is the best as well. I think some Call of Duties are good. I think some Call of Duties are bad. I think some Call of Duties are meh. I mean, I'll still say this right now. If Activision ever announces a Black Ops 1 remaster, I'll play that day one because that's my Call of Duty. Or a Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 remaster. I'll buy that day one easy. But yeah. And it's crazy to think like how successful Halo was because no one had heard of a first-person shooter on console being successful because they couldn't wrap their head around the controls alone. I mean, even a game beloved like GoldenEye, I still say has clunky-ass controls, still isn't fucking fun to play unless you got friends, which, I don't think that makes the game fun. It makes it fun with friends. It's like, yeah, everything's funner with friends. You could play a mediocre piece of crap game and it'd still be fun with friends because you guys are sitting there riffing on the game, but the game itself doesn't stand well. I know that's a controversial take for some. I don't think GoldenEye is that great. I think GoldenEye is kind of garbage, if I'm being honest.
That sense of possibility.
Damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
That you could go anywhere and do anything on this beautiful, lush planet filled with things that were trying to kill you. They just did it so well. The controls felt
everything
natural. You could tell like that it was going to be a breakthrough for first-person shooters.
I didn't care that I wasn't using a mouse. I was using a controller. I was in the Halo universe, and it was fantastic.
It was a bit of an epiphany of, oh, like you can do that? You can play this kind of game on a console? Awesome.
Halo was a phenomenon. That dual player mode was wow.
Landing on the beach with a Warthog trying to protect Marines with Master Chief. It just blew me away, man.
Banshee on flames comes down and lands on the ice and is skidding towards me across the ice, and it's gonna run me over and kill me, and it skids to a stop right in front of me. And I live. It was like I was there. It was like I had that.
It's kind of like you're living an action movie, right? That's kind of
With
idea.
Halo, Microsoft had that platform-defining title.
Even got so like Jack fucking Tran to show up in this thing.
And I lived.
Pause it when I see
It was
him.
like I was there. It was like I had that experience.
With Halo, Microsoft.
CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment of America, 2006 to 2014. Wow. So yeah, he was there for a while. But yeah, the fact that you got someone like Jack Tran on here, which, you know, obviously a Sony guy, but it's like, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, consoles are consoles, games are games. Cool. I worked for Sony at this point, and yeah, Halo was a huge point. And that's what he's essentially saying here is like, hey, Halo was the big deal. There was a reason why everyone wanted to make a Halo killer, because everyone wanted to be Halo. But not everyone could be Halo, and that's the point.
Microsoft had that platform-defining title that you had to go out and buy an Xbox
have
if you
it.
wanted to play, and that was something that I always envied and admired.
Halo forms so much of the backbone of, I think, what Xbox is.
100% agree with that statement.
Watching the feedback we were getting on Halo, the stories people were telling, it was a cultural moment.
You getting Halo? Oh, yeah. Good. Just checking.
Without Halo, you know, we're not here.
Halo Combat Evolved.
Microsoft estimated that they have sold 1 million copies of Halo in the U.S. alone. 50% of Xbox owners are also Halo players.
Xbox was the Halo box. That's what made it work.
Halo broke ground in so many ways, in game control, camera control, storytelling, even art style.
Sorry if you guys hear us.
It inspired a lot of people to tell a different kind of story.
It changed the game for Xbox, but I also think it changed the way we look at first-person shooters.
First-person shooters had only really largely existed at scale on PC, and mapping those controls to the controller, they just did it right. It just felt right.
No one had done it that well before. No one had nailed it. They just nailed the controls.
So before Halo came out, the conventional wisdom was if you wanted to play a shooter, you had to do it on a PC because that's where you would have the precision with the mouse and keyboard to aim, make the small movements to land that headshot on your enemies. What Bungie did with the help of Microsoft's playtesting and user research labs was figure out how to get something that would approximate that feeling on a console where all you have is the 2 sticks to move and aim. They weren't the first to do a shooter on the console, but they did it best by far.
Exactly.
And the influence of what Microsoft and Bungie were able to achieve is still being felt in games today.
Even today, it's the largest genre in console gaming. And really, because of Halo, Xbox became the console for first-person shooter fans.
The multiplayer was transcendent. It was just something that you didn't experience on any other platform.
Microsoft made a huge bet on broadband. Every single Xbox had an Ethernet port in the back, and it paid off in spades. You could use it for LAN parties and to system link on a LAN.
Oh my God! PC gamers understood the joy of the LAN, the local area network.
a network of computers in a local area, which means you have to be face to face and nose to armpit with gamers.
Got the flag, I'm out the front!
Anyone could tell you who's been to a LAN party. Being armpit next to someone, and especially at this time period, there's a reason why people would hand out free deodorant. Be like, motherfucker, you know what to do with this. If you don't put it on, we're gonna have problems. This is kind of like my generation's arcade days. Like, people talk about, like, people like DSP talk about, like, the arcade days. I think about this stuff as, like, the arcade days. I remember this very specifically, going over to a friend's place, and we were sitting down, we're playing Halo 2, and he had 4 controllers. I was like, wait, this thing, you could do 4 controllers? I don't remember if it had 4 controllers, but he had, like, 2 Xboxes. I'm pretty sure it had fucking 2, fucking controller ports. And we all sat down, played Halo 2 for like 2 hours. And I remember looking at this one guy who was next to me because we would switch out who we're playing against. And one guy in particular, I forget the guy's name, he sat there, he lifted up his fucking armpits. I'm like, you put that down! And everyone else started laughing. He's like, oh, he's saying I smell? I'm like, well, I'm not saying you smell good.
And it's a fun experience. You can all be in a shared virtual world and run around and do things that you couldn't through a modem just because you're all there connected and it's higher speed. Microsoft ushered that in for consoles.
Manually plugging machines together to play games was not a new concept.
Nope.
But it had always required a lot of technical know-how. Now, the communal gaming
I did have
experience
4
wasn't
ports,
just
so we
for
did play it
computer
off one
geeks.
Xbox.
It was for everyone.
Right now, we got this game going here, which is 16. Downstairs, I was just down there. They probably by now have at least a 16 game going on. They keep on bringing in more stuff, and it seems to be expanding.
It was a communal
Jesus.
party, multiplayer atmosphere that you could have with a massive group of people and have multiple consoles all connected.
We'd get together at like 8 a.m. and play 16-player Halo all the way till 8 a.m. the next day.
I remember running an Ethernet cable up the stairs so I could have a friend bring his over and play. I'd go to my buddy's
That's the
house,
biggest mess
and we're
ever.
on 2 different floors. We're in 4 different rooms because screen looking's a thing.
Man, the fights were legendary. You looked at my screen. No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
That's some ghetto-ass way to do that. Yeah, you kind of did have to worry about that. Because you couldn't have a whole screen to yourself. You would have to split it between 2 people. So, like, the group I ran with, we had a kind of like the honor system. Like, hey, I promise you promised me you're not going to look at my screen, right? And be like, oh, yeah, man, I'm not looking at your screen. And I catch him, like, one time, like, I'm like, motherfucker, you lied to me. This is a good idea. It's like, this should have stopped it, but the only problem is, like, because the screen's right there, it'd be kind of in your way.
I can't see your screen!
We'd make a little flyer at work, like Halo LAN party this Saturday. Bring an Xbox, bring a controller, bring a TV. That changed everything about my social life for probably 10
Except
years.
Derek. No one likes
By
Derek.
the way, weren't small TVs. These were the big cathode ray TVs that you had to find a way to be able to use.
Oh, God.
Heavy ass TV. Flat screens weren't around back then.
No.
You got it?
Yep. So I bought a PT Cruiser just so I could get my TV around and my Xbox.
That was a fashion statement to have an Xbox in the car back in the days. With that big screen.
Your foot. I know that's a foot. Ouch.
Remember?
But, yeah, that's never fun. That's why we always had the rule, like, I remember the friend we had, he did have, like, 2 TVs, and they were pretty decent-sized TVs. But the rule is you had to bring your own Xbox. You're saying, I didn't have a fucking Xbox at that time. But what I did have is friends who had Xboxes. And for some fucking reason, they never put it together. That thing had fucking 4 ports. Like I said, I couldn't remember exactly everyone's name because it was back in, like, middle school. Like, oh, God. I feel fucking old talking about this. But, yeah. We would all, play Halo. And every once in a while, I think I didn't really get to play the first Halo's campaign until, like, 2010, I think. Because, like, I think it was when they did the Combat Anniversary. That's when I got a chance to play it. Because I remember playing Halo 2's campaign, but I didn't play Halo 1's campaign. the closest I ever got to playing Halo 1's campaign is my dad's cousin, so I guess technically be my uncle, whatever. He had an Xbox because he actually worked for Microsoft at the time, because it's like everyone fucking worked for Microsoft at some point in this fucking state. And we had this rec room for the family, like, because it was at my grandma's condo, and he would bring in his Xbox and, you know, let us kids play on the Xbox while the adults were, you know, playing, you know, some kind of, you know, card game, poker or whatever. And the closest I ever got to playing Halo 1's campaign is one time I got to go into we went in there and got to play. Probably played for like 10 minutes. I didn't finish the campaign. Halo 2 was basically the same story. But my little brother, well, I guess you would call my half brother, he got an Xbox for Christmas. My family, my dad in particular, I don't know what the hell this guy was making, but we had a GameCube, a PS2, and an Xbox all in the same house. My half brother never played this Xbox, barely touched the damn thing. So when he got Halo 2, barely played through it. I was like, hey, can I try? And I played through the whole campaign. I was like, man, this is a really good game. And mind you, me and my other half brother, we're sitting there in this like little corner playing PS2 SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and God, that makes me nostalgic. Sit in this fucking chair that I swear to God was twice smaller than me, and for some fucking reason, I wanted to sit in that damn thing. Good times, man, good times. Nostalgic as hell.
Playing nonstop and sitting there in my own puddle of sweat.
The minute you stepped into a multiplayer match on Halo,
deodorant
time just disappeared. You just got
hand everyone deodorant,
and we would play all night long.
It provided me an experience I had never had on a console before, period.
Halo was a runaway hit that had spawned its own social scene, putting Microsoft in the big leagues with Sony and Nintendo for the first time. But the team wasn't done. They saw a way to take those multi-room raucous LAN parties and make them global.
Sniper, sniper!
The initial concept for Xbox Live was one of those magical ideas. So it gets to go in a special folder that I call epic pitches. Because they're pitches that, even though they were in their infancy, they planted a seed of ideas that turned into something that had an impact on the entire industry. Maybe an impact on global culture.
We built an Ethernet port in every unit, and the idea is now we can actually have a networked community of gamers from living room to living room around the world, no matter what language you speak, no matter where you are in the world, and we can all be part of one bigger community. And that vision was like awesome.
Yeah! There definitely was some skepticism about the idea of playing multiplayer games.
Matt Booty, the man with the most unfortunate name.
When we were scrambling to get Xbox done. And Xbox Live is like a vague fog in everybody's head. Nobody knew how that was going to work and whether it was going to be a good ecosystem and whether the quality would ever be there. And it became a huge point of tension in terms of how it was designed and how it was going to work. But we're going to do it.
Microsoft is putting literally billions of dollars on the line to back us, but the program was fraught with risk. It required technology that really hadn't been built anywhere in the industry before. And those kind of tech investments are always risky.
With so much riding on the success of Xbox Live, the team couldn't afford to develop it in a corporate vacuum. If they wanted to deliver a gaming experience unlike any other, they needed gamers to tell them exactly what they wanted.
We went out and talked to a whole bunch of gamers around the United States. One of the things that came back was that voice communications was going to be imperative.
You know, it is a good day to die, cheesemaker.
Nobody wanted to sit there and text with a typewriter, just taking out their buddies.
First thing was you had to get this starter kit. It had a headset in it. It's like,
You were talking about console gaming. What are you supposed to do with a headset?
The Xbox Communicator. It lets you talk to other gamers while you're playing.
This broke down the barriers of how you could speak. You simply banged on your headset and you could talk to anybody in the world that was on the platform.
Which is crazy.
Your defense is offensive. Your defense is offensive.
building that global couch where people can talk and kind of virtually elbow each other with 4 gamers on 4 continents and have it all perfectly fluid through headsets, just as if they were sitting in the same room together. This was before Skype. So the notion of low latency, great quality voice, we had to go build out that tech.
I like this one. You did your own digital personal ID remembers your moves. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're creating this giant gaming universe for gamers to play in over generations. We knew it was important to have this one identity that linked to you.
The gamer tag, the
username.
Gaming. Your gamer tag. It's your identity on Xbox Live. The legend you build for yourself in this brand new gaming universe. Remember, you're building all your stats and friends in that name.
Rather than have a gamer tag for Madden, a separate gamer tag for Halo, it's like you just want to be known as one thing.
My gamer tag is the real B.
My gamer tag is Cowboy22.
A gamer tag is Hero Protagonist.
It's King Doug.
The Spaceman.
Xbox Live wanted to bring that fundamental
And we all had those cringe ass names. Mine's still pretty cringe. Emo Pimp. I literally came up with it because I was 13 years old. I was in the middle of my edgy phase. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. Emo Pimp. Because, you know, that was also like time where, like, you know, Gangsters and Hoes was popular. But I like my dark music. I like my metal. So I was like, but that's emo. But I'm like a pimp. And 11/22 was like, because 11 was one of my favorite years. Because when I was 11, that's when I got really into gaming and got to be an extra nerd. And 22 is when I finally got out on my own and started being my own man. So it's like, it's a combination of my nerdiness and my manhood being a combination around this cringe ass name.
instant fun into the world of online gaming.
You will never be without a game to play, anytime, day or night.
It was
I don't know if that'd be a good promise.
The team was finally feeling
Never
confident.
played online for the record.
They had the
On the
technical
original
know-how to
Xbox.
build Xbox Live. But on the other side of that challenge was another, even bigger question. If they built it, would gamers pay for it?
The technology
That's
was
the hard
involved,
question.
But the commitment from a player, we just didn't know how it was going to fly. That firstly, someone's going to pay $50 a month for broadband, but they also have to go tell their friends that it's worth it.
I've never been shy to share my opinion. And there was one time where I was talking to Jay and we ended up arguing about it all the way into the hallway. And it was me saying, this Xbox Live idea you have is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Like, I hate this idea. Somebody's gonna pay $50 for multiplayer games when they can get it for free.
And people did laugh at that and said, why would you pay for access? Because you're already paying for your game.
It was
Something still to this day is hotly debated. But I want to give my opinion on this. I don't have a problem paying for online now because you get extra stuff, extra bells and whistles on top, especially with the certain subscription service you go with, like with PlayStation Plus Premium. I still argue, you know, if you could go a whole year on that damn thing, you do it because it's a good service. Same thing with Xbox Game Pass for a year. Do it, go for it, because if you can afford it, at that point you're saving yourself so much money down the road. But this point, it's like you're just paying just to play online. And I get, you know, it's for server maintenance, you know, make sure everything's up and running. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, but you're not really getting that much out of it. I mean, you would actually have to argue that you really have to kind of like enforce, you know, going and playing online to get to justify how much you pay for it monthly.
It wasn't just me. It was like an entire division worth of people saying, what are you, nuts?
So this experience had to be amazing. That was crazy to people. Like, who's going to play multiplayer if they have to pay for it?
Exactly. It is a hard sell at this
Microsoft is
point
taking
for them.
the Xbox game system to a whole new level.
Xbox Live. Future of video games arrives today. Microsoft is putting the Xbox online. Today, the Xbox goes live.
Manning is at his home in Indianapolis, Hasselbeck at his in Seattle, and they're about to play each other in a video game using the Microsoft Xbox console.
Oh, sit down. Son, don't your coaches tell you you can't take a sack in the red zone? That is quarterback 101.
Last night, we had gamers all over the country playing against celebrities here in LA where we had our big premiere party.
We're checking the perimeter.
All right, so here I go.
Xbox Live launched exactly 1 year after the original Xbox
Yeah,
itself
that's kinda
launched,
crazy.
November 15th, 2002.
The launch of Xbox Live was almost like a second launch for Xbox.
Blow up and kill everything in sight. Is that what you're getting? That's the idea, man. It's just like doing RoboCop. I'm gonna open up a
Oh my god, did they seriously get Kurtwood in there? That's cool. Red from fucking that 70s show. I think that's the guy. Samuel Jackson right there in the background. Like, this bitch fucking interviewing him.
The two launch titles that I have such fond memories of, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, which was a port of the PC game, and Mech Assault, which is a third-person action-oriented take on Mech Warrior.
Just light bulbs went off, just the magic was there.
Live let us add the element of community and human society to game design.
It was just immediately clear to me that this was going to be like the thing for video games.
What Live did for Xbox was it created this community that once you got into it and attached to it, it was very hard to leave.
I met so many people online playing games that I never would have been cool with based off of us playing each other, me beating him beating me, him having some great plays.
And there's an extraordinary number of like 50-year-old males that play Xbox Live together. And they will not go to another system because their buddies aren't gonna go. So they're only gonna buy a system to hang out with the guys so they can play while the kids are sleeping and they're gonna play Call of Duty or something, right?
Every night, me and my homies be on a party with about 15 or 20 of us, and we be talking about what happened in the day if we playing the games, and it's just like a great gossip line for some grown-ass men.
We had forecasted how many Xbox Live subscribers we were gonna have, month 1, month 2, month 6, etc.
Hey, we got 50,000. Hey, we got 100,000. Hey, we got 1 million. Hey, we got 2 million. It just kept growing.
And that happened like I wouldn't say instantly, but pretty damn close. It happened very, very fast.
Xbox Live was unprecedented. Everybody else's version paled in comparison.
What you think of gaming today, being on a headset, talking with friends, playing games, that just
was
seems
super new
commonplace
at
now
the
because
time.
it is commonplace now, but Xbox made that possible in a big way.
Xbox Live could be considered one of the very first social media platforms.
Before Facebook, even before MySpace, Microsoft really did pioneer the very first interactive, dynamic social platform.
Quite frankly, Microsoft proved to the world that online multiplayer was going to be the key to the future.
Yeah.
Gamers flocked to Xbox Live in numbers that even took optimists within Microsoft by surprise. But while the platform was teeming with newly devoted fans who loved sniping their college buddies from different continents, there was one consistent complaint. What happened to the game that put Xbox on the map? Where was Halo?
When we started working on the second Halo game, the weight of expectation came crashing down on us.
Halo 2 had to be a blockbuster movie, and that was always a danger, is what if we just pushed to do this big AAA spectacle and miss the heart of what made Halo a success in the first place?
God damn, we have a lot of work to do between now and E3.
Everybody on the team had a different idea.
And if you thought Halo 1's development was bad, oh my god. Dude, Halo 2's development, I wonder if there'll ever be a documentary series about it, because I want to see it. or just a documentary about it. I'm pretty sure there might be at least one. But Halo's 2 development was so much more... there was so much more pressure on them. Because now they're like, hey, now we know you can do a good game. Now do it again. Do it again on the same console. And make sure to have online this time. It's like, motherfucker. We just got this game out. It's like, now you want us to do a second one with like very few breaks in between.
Idea about what being more excellent would be. We loved that you could get into vehicles, for example, but it frustrated us that you couldn't like tear someone out of a vehicle and jump into their vehicle.
They
and
want
take it
the
over.
extra
So
mile in
boarding
every way.
vehicles became a huge design initiative.
Look out!
We were really good at coming up with great ideas. We weren't quite as good at production discipline and figuring out how to right size all those ideas, fit them into a box, timeline, and ship on time.
When I got there,
and that's a sign of a really good creative, though. Okay, to an extent, creatives are people who are just like, I could give you 100 great ideas, they're all great, But then you gotta have someone who's practical. Like, okay, dude, I love those ideas. Those are great. How the fuck are we gonna do that? It's kind of like when I was watching the Bray Wyatt documentary, and they're talking about like how great he was, how much of a, genius mind he had. But it's like, but you still have to do all this stuff in a certain space, and you have certain limitations. Yes, you will do all this great stuff. Cool, we want to do it too. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta know your limitations here.
They had reached a point in development where they were basically going to have to cut half the game and in some ways start from scratch. And a lot of the promises that
infamously, the demo they showed at E3 one year, I think it was actually the year it was like a playable demo. Well, it's not even in the final product, and it's like, ugh. And see, like when you have something like that happen, it's like it's a huge blow, because that's a part of the game. That's time they spent making that, and it's like, either this was going to be a part of the game and you took it out, or this was never going to be a part of the game and you wasted time making this demo when it should have been spent on making the full product. Now these days, you don't have to have a full demo. You don't. At most you have is like what PlayStation does is like a 2-hour trial to see if you want to continue playing the game. I think that's better than having demos in some ways, because it is kind of a demo. But it's like, I keep saying the word demo. But it's like, back in those days at E3, you had to have something to show, and then you had to have it on the show floor. Now you could just put up a CGI trailer and people speculate for 2 years. Hi, Wolverine. When the fuck are we going to see you again?
They'd made themselves.
Within a year, it became clear it wasn't working. Just the way the game felt, Jason really wasn't happy with. He looked at the game. Yes. And he came to me and said, we have a problem. I'm going to have to rework a bunch of the work, and it's effectively going to add another year to the schedule.
Jason, help. There was a lot of pressure. How can we ship a better game than Halo? And from Microsoft's point of view, Xbox's point of view, how can you ship that game as quickly as possible?
This is now by far the most valuable franchise that we have. This is Halo. We can't screw.
Technically, their biggest IP they had at this point. They had a couple other ones that were kind of in the works, like Forza and stuff. Like Forza, I would argue Forza never really took off until like the 360 generation, and I would say late 360. Like once they got into the Horizon stuff, that's like what made everything else look so much better. But yeah, Gears wasn't a thing at this time. They had a couple other franchises. Like, hey, these are cool, but it's like they didn't have the same weight as Halo. I know there was like this one platformer they wanted it to be a big deal. I think it was Blinks. That's the name of the game. I'm not 100% sure. They also bought Rare, but they basically got Nintendo's leftovers in that whole thing. Like, don't get me wrong, Banjo-Kazooie and all that, great, cool, but it's like, yeah, that was kind of weird. And I love, by the way, they're not even mentioning Rare in this whole documentary yet, because like, Conker's Bad Fur Day remake, people were like, man, that's actually kind of cool. And it had actual multiplayer, online multiplayer, pretty good multiplayer from what I heard. But yeah, it's funny how they're not mentioning Rare in this whole thing yet.
Jason's saying he needs a new year. Time for me to step up and do my job as a boss.
I do know that Ed went to bat for us.
Ed was very much a purist. He was about creating great games and giving the dev teams the time they need. And that is at conflict sometimes with actually making a profit.
So to me, it was a no-brainer. But Robbie wanted to put it in front of the other leads on the team because Halo was so important. It's going to affect, the Xbox Live team and what they do. It would affect the continued marketing of the platform and things like that.
Yeah.
Microsoft back then was a technology company. Software shipping on time at quality was a big part of the rhythm of the business.
So we go in and we have the meeting, and Robbie basically goes around the room and takes a vote. And it went around the room and everybody voted to keep it on the original schedule.
God.
I walked out of the room and basically I just threatened to quit immediately. Robbie gave in, calmed me down, and he agreed, and he gave us the extra year for Halo 2.
Ed got the Bungie team the time they needed to finish the game. But the delayed launch had a ripple effect throughout Microsoft.
Really, that Bungie meeting was the beginning of the end for me. When I walked out of there, it wasn't just that I was mad, it was the first time I could imagine leaving the company. I mean, I'd been there since I was in college. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. About to turn 40, I had been at the company a long time and made plenty of money, so I didn't need to be there. Within the next 6 months, I quit.
In January 2004, Ed Fries resigned from Microsoft, while Bungie set out to finish what they'd started, creating a sequel to one of the most popular titles in console history. The extra year Fries bought them turned out to make all the difference. Not only did it elevate the game, it built fan excitement to a whole new level.
The lead up to Halo 2, I had never experienced anything like that.
You'll never experience
in my
anything
life.
like it. Not
it
ever
was genuinely
again.
a pop culture event, and I don't say that lightly.
7,000 stores are opening on midnight.
They've been waiting a long time for this.
They were chanting, Halo 2!
Halo 2!
Just felt like something new was going to happen in entertainment.
Because Halo 2 is the best! Halo 2 is everything!
Xbox's Halo 2 is expected to generate more revenue in 24 hours than day one sales of any full-feature movie in entertainment history.
Halo 2 is probably, one of the biggest phenomenons to ever hit my life and a lot of people's lives.
It was the biggest day in entertainment history.
Halo 2 sold 2.4 million units in 24 hours.
That's a lot of money.
Game. For the first time, really crushing movies. It was a coming-of-age story for the video game industry.
This game is simply the best game on the planet.
I played Halo 2 with my friends literally every night for at least a year. That's how transformative Halo 2 was for me. And what it did for Xbox Live, there had been nothing like that ever.
With the innovative success of Xbox Live and a full-blown cultural phenomenon in Halo 2, it
Still
seemed
got the
like
tattoo, bro.
Microsoft's bets were paying off. Xbox was even surpassing Nintendo in US sales. On a winning streak, the team put their eyes on an industry-changing follow-up to the Xbox.
When I arrived at Microsoft, it was my job to think about the way that the gamer was going to be using this 2, 3, 4 years after launch, and how do you continue to deliver content. We started then to plan this multi-billion-dollar investment that became the Xbox 360.
Xbox 360 is the new entertainment system.
And I'll tell you right now, man, I don't. This might sound like a controversial opinion here, but I don't think Microsoft and this is all about the console. I'm saying this in a, the frame of like, if we were still the console wars were still a thing, okay, but I'm in the camp of the console wars are done. It's about publishing wars now. It's about getting your brand out there. It's about, it doesn't matter how much your console sells. It's about how many games you sell. Because that's where you make your money. But I'm in the camp right now of, and I probably will be this for the rest of my life, the 360 was the peak Xbox. They will never, ever take Sony or Nintendo. Not anymore. Because they're not in that mindset anymore. They're not about outdoing Sony. They're not about outdoing Nintendo. They're about building off what Nintendo and Sony are doing. Hey, you guys sold let's say Sony sells 400 million units. Great, cool. How about we put some games on there? That's what their mindset is now. Their mindset is not to sell more consoles on them, it's to sell more games on those other consoles on top of the already been selling on their current console. That's what I believe. And I think the 360 is the best Microsoft. That was Microsoft at their best. That was them at their peak. That was them at their A game. And they fumbled. And they fumbled badly at the end.
Designed around high def, wireless, and always connected. And it doesn't stop there. It's totally personalizable, so you can change the way it works and the way it plays and find your friends no matter what you're doing.
When they unveiled the 360, I saw a very powerful console with a stunning interface, with a focus on being online, always connected.
Hey, get that out of the box real quick!
They had sort of experimented with with the original Xbox and Xbox Live, but now they were building it into the core experience of the console.
Xbox 360 was 5 to 10 times more powerful than the original Xbox. To achieve that, we had to push technology and solutions that didn't exist in the previous generation. We had to go explore things that had never been done.
As opposed to leveraging a lot of off-the-shelf components and existing technologies, we're actually building a brand new processor and chipset for this particular console. So we're taking a lot more of that engineering effort on internally.
At the heart of the Xbox 360 are 3 IBM CPUs.
Whatever you'd heard about the PlayStation 2 Emotion Engine, whatever big wild dreams you had created in your head, we needed to create a leapfrog product that said, hey, this is even more powerful. This is the most powerful console on the planet. And so we evolved the Xbox from a powerful console that plays all the games you love to a console that connects you to all your friends and connects you to a lifestyle, this digital entertainment lifestyle.
We involved movies, we got content generated.
They had
that you could
everything on
access,
it.
music.
The magic in Xbox 360.
Yeah, they had music, and I was using fucking Zune. Guys, remember Zune? Besides it being a Guardians of the Galaxy joke, I think that's like the closest thing it's been to pop culture relevant.
It does so much more than the original Xbox did.
Xbox 360 Guide, it is your launch pad to all of your digital entertainment.
Here you can store your pictures, videos, and music.
We've also added a new concept called achievements, sort of a record of everything you've accomplished across your entire library of games. With Xbox 360, we've created technology that will enable people from every age and every corner of the planet to gather together in new ways. A product with games at its core, surrounded by limitless, connected digital entertainment.
Everything we were trying to do had just never been done before.
We're really focusing hardcore on building an online experience for Xbox around games.
Gaming was always first. But this was no longer just the ability for you to play a game online. This was breakthrough thinking.
We built Xbox 360 with a mission.
They showed it as a media hub in your living room. You could connect other devices to it, you could play your photos, you could do this, that, the other. They targeted a broad range of gamers. They were building this thing to be future-proof.
Microsoft's new Xbox 360 will be first to hit stores' shelves this fall.
It's huge. It's a big, big statement for us. The next generation of consoles starts now.
We wanted to try something.
Why do they put the fucking height in between X and box? Just want to point that out there. But yeah, this thing was huge. And there'd be a problem. It's a problem. It's like, you guys are so ambitious. You're kind of starting to lose the script here a little.
The new with the Xbox 360 launches.
Xbox moves, man!
Favorite game.
Woo! Where are you guys from? Did
We're
you drive far?
Well,
yeah.
from Indianapolis, Indiana.
And Kansas City.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, Hollywood. I came in from Minneapolis. Land of Florida. Yeah.
That's the only way to get it on the 360. You hear me?
Hey, this is Xbox Live's Major Nelson. We're here at 0 Hour in the Mojave Desert. Hey guys, you ready to go?
High in the desert.
It's the biggest gaming event of the year, and it starts right now. 0 Hour was this in-person fan experience in the desert in California. I was at G4 at the time, and I remember we got wind that they were just going to throw an epic party for Xbox fans.
This is Xbox 360. I'm hexed.
We had a hangar in the middle of nowhere and decked
Why?
it with hundreds of gaming stations.
We are seconds away from this hangar opening, and all of these people getting a chance to play the Xbox.
Here's a question. Why in the middle of the desert? I want to know that part. Someone explain that part to me. Why in the middle of the desert? Couldn't you do this like, rent out an arena or something? Just saying. Just saying.
Xbox 360. And as the doors start to open, like the biggest doors you'd ever seen, you knew that you're about to run in to what would be the future of gaming. Are you ready?
And we basically said, hey, come here and you're going to be the first to play games, and we're going to sell you consoles here as well.
Thousands of gamers came, people that had met on Xbox Live that had never actually seen each other in person before. People were so happy. It was a magical launch event.
0 Hour event was a huge success, a massive celebration. We had so much pride in this product.
Was this a transcendent moment for you?
Oh, yes.
The excitement generated in the desert spilled into the rest of the country as the console became available to the public on November 22nd, 2005.
I waited in line in like freezing rain for like 3 hours outside this Best Buy to try and get a slip so I could get an Xbox 360. I was so stoked when I got it. I took a selfie.
They had a great launch lineup. They had the gamer in mind first.
It had the features that I would want in a console. They had the games for casual gamers, for hardcore gamers.
The Xbox 360 marketplace was where you could buy digital games. Sure, you had Steam and people could do it on PC, but this was a managed, curated portfolio, much like is an app store today. And we were one of the first ones to have it.
I start downloading games, and I download Joust, Robotron, and Defender, and like, all of a sudden everybody's having fun because these games are amazing. And I'm like, okay, we were sitting here at Grandma's house and we were bored, and I just got on the internet and downloaded games, and now we're playing video games and having fun. This is the future. This is the greatest thing in history, and this is what this console transition is about.
I can view my profile so I can see, what games I've got, and it's got the whole achievements thing here as well.
It was the first console with achievements. We take that for granted now, but all the little bonus points and your gamer score and your rating.
You achieved something in the game, and that something is whatever the developer decided. Hey, did you scale this mountain? Did you open this door? Did you find this thing?
Somebody can play through the game, but if you wanted to really complete it, you had to get every achievement.
Let's kick some ass.
I've got 148,000 gamer score. People are like, what is that? Why do you care? Because it's something that reminds me of all the time that I've had, all the games that I've played, all the
I still think trophies sound
I
better.
feel like I've accomplished something.
They had an
I would just say that, like, I think trophies sound better. Hey, I got a platinum trophy. Well, I got 1,000 gamer score. Like, okay, what do you do with a gamer score? At least a trophy sounds like a little bit more prestigious. Like, oh, cool, you got a platinum trophy. That's good, right?
incredible console that was built for always online, always ready, with a stunning interface that ran on top of everything, and they came out guns blazing.
We had low price, with high def, with great games, and a product that was great. And so we felt we had a chance that generation.
Yeah, we were riding high, we were celebrating, morale is extremely high.
They had arrived. They had to gain the trust of developers, they had to make a statement with the gamers, they had to show that they belonged at this party, and the 360 was a beautiful iteration of all the lessons that they had learned with the original Xbox.
I think 360 was finally that moment that Jay and Seamus and everyone, dreamed of.
Gamers were looking to see whether we would get it right this time, and we thought that we did. We needed to be seen as the start of the next generation, and this all needed to come together flawlessly. Unfortunately, that's not quite what happened.
Ticking time bomb starts happening.
This is called an E74 error. Contact Xbox customer support.
It was in the forums, and I started to notice that something wasn't right. I think there's something going on here.
The criticisms that we're reading about are coming from the games press, who are hearing from gamers who are saying, I'm having a problem with my box.
You can feel the top of the Xbox, it's pretty hot.
We can hear retailers starting to say, there's an issue here.
With 360, Microsoft had built something amazing and special, but this problem was something that could kill the Xbox and all the work that they had done to get to this point.
And yeah, the next video we're gonna be talking about the Red Rain of Death. If you know about it, oh boy, was it a problem. So until next time, guys, this is That PlayStation Gamer signing out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube outer BS. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.